My Sister Slept with My Husband Part 3. Chapter 13. The Auctioned Wedding. Weddings are usually symbols of beginnings, hope, love, possibility. But hers became a museum exhibit for things that never were. It started with the venue. An opulent estate just outside the city, vineyard views, chandeliers carved like galaxies, gold-veined marble floors. I remembered it from the brochure years ago, when I had looked at it for our anniversary party. He said it was too much. Apparently, for her, it wasn't. Except, they never paid. The deposit had bounced. The follow-up payment ghosted. And when they tried again, the card was frozen, tied to an account now flagged under fraudulent authorizations. The venue sent a polite, final warning. Then they pulled the date. But instead of cancelling, they auctioned it. High demand, Midsummer Saturday. Only fools would waste that slot. Within 24 hours, it was booked by a tech CEO and his influencer wife. They sent out their invitations using the exact same stationery company. My sister had to watch as her date, her venue, her font choice, got reposted on Instagram by someone else with a much better dress and a paid bill. The comment section lit up. Didn't this used to be Alice's venue? Yikes. Imagine your dream wedding getting auctioned off like a garage sale. Plot twist. The only aisle she's walking is in court. Next came the dress. $9,000. Hand-beaded. Mermaid silhouette. Swarovski crystals shaped into falling stars. She hadn't even picked it up yet. Because it wasn't fully paid for either. The bridal boutique, now sick of chasing bounced checks, legally reclaimed the gown. It never even left the mannequin. They listed it in a repossessed luxury inventory auction. I watched it stream live, sipping chai from my balcony as bidders chimed in with usernames like Feral Bridesmaid and Debt-Free Darling. The dress sold for $1,400. To a drag queen in Miami, who posted a TikTok dancing in it the next day with the caption, "When you snatch a gown and a storyline at once, nail polish." The caterer, too, posted a subtle jab. A TikTok of their team packing up mock dishes with the text, "When you prep for 180 people and all you get is zero payment and drama." Viral. Of course. Someone stitched it with her old video, her, swirling champagne in a robe, saying "manifesting the wedding I deserve." The stitch added "the universe said, bet." The final punch. The bouquet. A cascading sculpture of white orchids, blush ponies, and imported jasmine. Custom designed. Non-refundable. And seized by the florist when payments lapsed. They listed it in their clearance catalog, auction style. I bid anonymously. Won it for $86. Had it delivered to her condo door in a simple box. No note. No return address. Just a tiny ribbon that read, "Congratulations on your unforgettable day." I don't know what she did when she opened it. I don't care. But I do know she posted nothing for 3 days after that. Radio silence. No filtered selfies. No resilient queen quotes. No live streams begging for sympathy. Just silence. And in that silence, the fantasy ended. The wedding she stole wasn't just cancelled. It was auctioned. Dismantled. And repurposed. By strangers. By better people. By people who paid. Chapter 14. The house that isn't theirs. There's something satisfying about a lock that clicks. especially when you know the person trying to open it still believes the key belongs to them. They thought the house was still his. The one we bought together during that first year of dizzy optimism, back when he used to bring me lattes and say things like home is wherever you are. 4 bedrooms. Wraparound porch. A view of the river. It was the crown jewel of our curated life. We planted a magnolia tree in the backyard. It bloomed the spring we said forever. Then he gave my sister a tour of it, while I was still paying the taxes. After the affair, he assumed he still had access. Why wouldn't he? His name was still on the original paperwork. The utilities still hit his inbox. He had no idea that 6 weeks earlier, with Vera's help, I had quietly and legally transferred the deed to a shell LLC registered under a holding company 2 states away. It wasn't fraud. It was strategy. The LLC. Fully owned by me. The deed. Filed, sealed, and recorded. The locks. Changed. They showed up on a Saturday. Mid-afternoon. Sun out, boxes in hand. I wasn't there, but the ring camera caught everything. There she was, in a sundress and wedges, laughing like she was in a rom-com. Him behind her, arms full of luggage, eyes dark with forced confidence. She reached for the handle. Tried it. Locked. She knocked. Waited. Nothing. Tried the key. Jiggled it. Looked confused. Tried again. Still locked. She looked at him, and something shifted. Her laugh cracked. Are you sure you have the right key? He nodded. Annoyed. Of course. I literally own this place. But the key didn't fit. Because the house no longer belonged to him. A neighbor, Mrs. Langley, 3 houses down, stood watering her geraniums, pretending not to watch. She knew. I'd told her everything the week before. She smiled politely, waved at my sister. New neighbors moving in, she asked sweetly. My sister blinked. Yeah. Just house stuff. Mrs. Langley tilted her head. Strange. Thought the owners said no one was moving in this month. My sister's smile twitched. We are the owners. Oh, Mrs. Langley said. That's funny. I didn't think you were. And then she went back to her plants. An hour later, my ex texted me. Bradford, did you change the locks on the house? Me, it's not your house. Bradford, you can't just lock me out. Me, check the deed. Or call your lawyer. Bradford, this is ******ing insane. Me, so is infidelity and fraud, but here we are. Me, P.S., the magnolia's blooming. You won't see it this year. Blocked. That night, I poured a glass of wine and stood at the upstairs window. The house was mine again. Quiet. Undisturbed. Secure. The laughter they once dragged through my hallways was gone. The perfume that clung to the guest room doorframe had faded. The ghosts were still, because I had locked them out. They never tried again. He moved in with her temporarily, in a cramped apartment above a strip mall. She posted one last TikTok, a sad little bedroom tour with fairy lights taped to the wall and a plastic tray labeled "Manifesting Better Days Dizzy Sparkles." The comments weren't kind. Should have manifested the deed. Nothing screams romance like leasing after betrayal. Can't steal a house when it's not yours, babe. And me. I slept like royalty. Because sometimes revenge isn't loud. It isn't fireworks or screaming matches. Sometimes revenge is just a locked door. And the silence that follows when the key doesn't turn. Chapter 15: A little thing called identity theft. There's a difference between betrayal and crime. Betrayal hurts. But crime comes with paper trails and prosecutors. And my sister had crossed that line the moment she thought she could wear my name like a bridal veil and not get caught in the threads. It started with a letter. Not from a friend. Not from a vendor. From a bank. Addressed to me. In my maiden name. About a delinquent bridal loan totaling $18,200. I hadn't taken out any loan. Certainly not for a wedding I wasn't having. But there it was, black ink, red flags, and my social security number at the bottom of the form. I stared at it for a long time. The date. 2 months earlier. The borrower. Me, according to the signature. But I hadn't signed anything. The handwriting wasn't mine. The email address used was one I'd never seen before. firstname.lastname.bridal22@gmail.com. It was barely a disguise. And the mailing address. My ex-husband's apartment. I called Vera. She arrived in a blazer, heels, and her war face on. Oh, she said, after reading the letter. She really thought this was clever. It's not. It's a felony. Within days, Vera filed a formal complaint with the financial institution, along with a fraud affidavit. I brought in a handwriting expert. Vera contacted a cybersecurity consultant to confirm the Gmail account was registered using an IP address from my sister's device. We didn't scream. We documented everything. Then came the call from the office of the Inspector General. I was half asleep when the voicemail came through. Miss Hale, this is Agent Donovan with the Financial Crimes Division. We've received a flagged case involving potential misuse of personal identity and fraudulent loan activity. Please return our call at your earliest convenience. Agent. Not customer service. Not collections. Federal. Turns out, the bridal loan program she'd used was part of a national small lender initiative that had government backing during the post-COVID recovery period. So while she thought she was applying for a harmless unsecured loan under a slightly borrowed name, she had, in fact, committed federal identity theft. Under Title 18. Section 1028. Which comes with penalties up to 15 years in prison. Oops. Vera handled the agents. I provided statements. Emails. Comparisons of our signatures. Screenshots of texts where my sister bragged about handling the money stuff and taking care of paperwork like a boss. She had left a trail like glitter. Impossible to clean up. Visible from space. 2 weeks later, she was served. Not gently. Not in private. At her job. She had taken a temporary receptionist gig, her influencer days long gone, at a dental office on the edge of town. Agent Donovan walked in mid-shift and handed her a subpoena. It was caught on the waiting room camera. And someone, God bless whoever it was, leaked it online. TikTok lit up again. The clip went viral under the hashtag, #felonifiance. Stitched with the audio. You thought you ate. Give me that plate. Twitter called her America's most ambitious bride sister. Reddit's r/justice served pinned her case to the top of the week. Someone even mocked up a movie poster. Stolen identity, 1 bride. 1 crime. 0 regrets. She tried to spin it. Posted a tearful video in a hoodie, no makeup, rambling about how family is complicated and sometimes we make mistakes in love and logistics. But love doesn't use your sister's social security number to buy a wedding arch and faux champagne tower. The comments were ruthless. Logistics. Girl, this is identity theft. A crime of passion, and PayPal. Can't spell bride without Fed indictment, I guess. Me. I stayed quiet. Let the courts do what they were built to do. Let the agents tally the evidence. Let her lawyer try to explain away 18 pages of forged documents and voice memos. Because now, this wasn't about petty revenge. It was about law. About consequences. About a little thing called justice. Or maybe just a little thing called identity theft. Chapter 16 Public humiliation is a dish best served viral. Some people disappear when the spotlight gets too hot. My sister. She ignited. But she didn't burn alone. It started as a simple idea. A digital scrapbook. A just-in-case folder I had started months ago, tucked deep in my drive, labeled simply, "Do not open." Inside, a chronology of collapse. Text messages laced with venom and flirtation. Screenshots of vendor receipts billed under my name. Emails with fake signatures. Voice notes of her laughing about finally being the one. That infamous video of her twirling in my old robe with the caption, "Some girls lose, some girls upgrade." And the pièce de résistance, the bridal loan application with my social security number typed in, clear as daylight. Initially, it was just for legal protection. Then Vera saw it and said, "It's basically a documentary. A tragicomedy with PowerPoint receipts." One night, I sent it, anonymously, to a mid-tier YouTube channel called Court of Public Opinion. They had 300k subscribers, a velvet-voiced narrator, and a reputation for telling stories with class, clarity, and just enough shade. I expected a reaction. But I didn't expect millions. The video dropped on a Sunday afternoon. Titled, "She Stole Her Sister's Husband, and Her Identity." Let's unpack that. It opened with soft piano music and black and white stills of the wedding vision board. Then, a dramatic voiceover reading actual texts from my sister. "He says I'm more fun." That she never appreciated him. Honestly. She had her shot. Also, do you think Vera will notice if I just sign for the venue stuff? Cut to an image of my hacked credit card bill. A slow zoom on the bridal gown auction listing. The moment she was served at her dental job, slowed to 0.5x speed. Over it all, SFX of ticking clocks, cash registers, and courtroom gavels. Within 24 hours. 3.8 million views. By the end of the week, 11.2 million. She became an icon of what not to do. A cautionary meme in HD. TikTok stitched clips of her live streams with the words, "Gaslight," "Gatekeep," "Grand Theft Bridal." One creator did a dramatic reading of her emails, dressed in a wedding gown, mascara streaming. "Hi, yes, I'd like to open a bridal loan in my sister's name. I promise it's just girl math." The comments were relentless. "She's the villain and the clown. Imagine committing federal fraud in 4K. Unflattering lighting really is the final punishment." Reddit threads multiplied. Her name trended on Twitter. Instagram gossip pages reposted side-by-sides of her filtered selfies versus the raw footage from her live meltdown. Someone posted, "The ring light giveth, and the subpoena taketh away. At first, she denied it. Claimed the video was manipulated. Posted a story, "Don't believe everything you see online." Within minutes, someone posted the original clips next to her denial, synced frame by frame. Another creator made a spot the lie challenge. It went viral. She deleted her account the next day. But it didn't stop. Because the internet never forgets. Especially not when the receipts are color-coded, time-stamped, and aesthetically edited. Public humiliation wasn't a consequence anymore. It was content. Her ex didn't fare better. He became the man who got left with the bill. A podcast invited him to speak. He declined. So they analyzed his emails instead. A viral clip featured his text. "She'll get over it. She always does." With the voiceover. Famous last words. And me. I stayed silent. No interviews. No reveals. No claim to authorship. Just me, sipping my coffee each morning while the view count ticked up like a stock chart. Because this wasn't just revenge. It was a restoration. Of my name. My story. My power. Chapter 17 Family Intervention, not for her. My mother has always believed in clearing the air. Even when that air reeked of betrayal, fraud, and an attempted wedding financed on her daughter's stolen identity. So when she called me, voice shaky but hopeful, and said she wanted to organize a healing circle, I wasn't surprised. Disappointed, maybe. But not surprised. I just think, enough is enough, sweetheart, she said. I mean, yes, she messed up. She committed a felony, Mom. Okay, but emotionally, she's hurting. You both are. I stayed quiet. She cries, you know, she added. She doesn't leave the house. Barely eats. I didn't eat when I was scraping my name off credit reports either. Please. Just come. We'll sit, we'll talk. No accusations. Just, woman to woman. Sister to sister. She wanted tears. Reconciliation. A tidy ending wrapped in sage smoke and apology tea. I gave her silence. And then I sent an RSVP. Not attending. But someone will be there in my place. The day of the healing circle, my sister was expecting a couch, maybe a candle, maybe one of those trendy healing crystals from Etsy that smell like jasmine and perform about as well as she did on the witness stand. She got a therapist. And a court summons. The therapist, an actual, licensed clinical professional I'd personally hired, arrived precisely at 4 p.m., clipboard in hand, voice gentle and firm. She introduced herself to my mother and the 6 other women invited, including 2 cousins, an aunt, and someone's yoga teacher who had no idea what she was walking into. My sister was in a hoodie, face bare, visibly unwell. The therapist opened the session. I've been asked to attend today in the interest of creating space for truth. For clarity. And for preparation. Preparation for what? My sister asked. For accountability. And then the second guest arrived. The one in a blazer. Carrying an envelope marked official court notice. You could hear the inhale ripple across the room. Like the moment just before a wine glass shatters on tile. The therapist didn't flinch. She had been briefed. She knew the delivery was coming. My sister opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside. A formal notice of pending civil litigation. A damages estimate. And a line reading. Defendant is formally requested to cease further use of plaintiff's legal identity, social security credentials, and associated credit accounts, or face immediate escalation to federal court. She didn't cry. Not at first. She looked up, eyes flicking between the therapist, the court officer, and my mother, who had gone pale as steamed milk. This isn't healing," she whispered. "This is cruel." The therapist corrected her gently. "No. This is consequence. My mother called me that night. 3 times. I didn't answer. She sent a voicemail. I don't know what you're becoming, but I don't recognize it." I almost replied. "Maybe because you never really saw me in the first place." But I didn't. Some things are better left unread. This wasn't petty anymore. This wasn't revenge. This was boundary setting. Healing doesn't always mean hugging. Sometimes it means never sitting in the same room again. And if that makes me cold, good. I'd rather be cold and clear than warm and exploited. Chapter 18: The Trial of Two Tacky Souls. Court smells like nerves. Polished tile. Dust. Desperation under perfume. I arrived 15 minutes early, precisely as Vera instructed. Not because I was worried. Because I was prepared. And that's more dangerous than fury. The courtroom was small, fluorescent lit. No cameras. No drama. Just law. But outside, a small crowd had gathered: bloggers, legal TikTokers, a true crime podcaster with hot pink nails and a microphone shaped like a rose. Because after everything, the videos, the DMs, the identity theft, the wedding that collapsed like wet cardboard, the people wanted a conclusion. A verdict. A final dish of justice with receipts on the side. And then they walked in. Together. My ex-husband and my sister. In matching beige outfits. Beige. Of all the colors. He wore a too-tight blazer. She wore some faux silk wrap dress with shoulder pads that screamed clearance rack penance. And both of them tried to smile, that fake influencer smile, too white, too forced, like everything was just a misunderstanding. They walked hand in hand like it was a damn date night. The judge didn't even glance up. I didn't smile. Didn't blink. Just sat there in a tailored navy pantsuit. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. Gold pen. Leather-bound folder labeled simply evidence. I didn't speak once. But my documents did. Vera stood. Her heels tapped like punctuation. "Your Honor," she began, "we are here to demonstrate a clear and ongoing pattern of financial fraud, document forgery, and deliberate identity theft conducted by the defendants, Mr. Bradford Hale and Miss Alyssa Monroe. What we present today is not speculation. It is not vengeance. It is fact." She placed a single flash drive on the table. The court clerk took it. Plugged it in. And the slideshow began. On screen. Signed loan applications bearing my social security number. Side-by-side signature analyses, hers versus mine. Footage of my ex calling a vendor to approve payments, on a joint account he no longer had access to. Screenshots of texts. Just fill it out like she would. It's not like anyone checks. And a timeline of every financial decision they made using my identity after the affair began. Each slide landed like a punch. Each silence that followed was heavier than the last. My sister squirmed in her seat. She whispered something to him. He shrugged, a twitch of shoulder, a sideways glance, no support left in him. The judge finally looked up. And the defendant's response to these allegations. Their lawyer, some sad-eyed discount man with a crooked tie, stood up. Your Honor, my clients were under emotional duress. There was confusion during the financial transition of. Are you suggesting confusion resulted in opening a fraudulent loan and signing federal tax documents with another person's identity? The lawyer fumbled. My sister started crying. The judge wasn't moved. This court finds sufficient evidence to proceed to formal charges for identity theft, fraud, and financial impersonation. The civil suit will move forward as filed. Restitution may be determined at a later date. Gavel. Done. Outside, they tried to rush past the cameras. Someone yelled. Alyssa, do you regret stealing your sister's life? She snapped, I didn't steal anything. I loved him. Flashbulbs. Laughter. Gasps. Someone else said, you sure loved her credit score too. I walked to the car in silence. Vera beside me. No smile. Just calm. She said, they thought they were slick. They weren't. That night, the courtroom sketches were posted online. Someone turned mine into a digital art piece, regal, icy, unreadable. Captioned, the woman who never raised her voice, but won the war anyway. Chapter 19 The Foreclosure Party. She wanted a castle. Instead, she got an eviction notice taped to a hollow core door, delivered by a man in beige slacks with a clipboard and pity in his eyes. The princess fantasy didn't end with a crown, just cold laminate floors, unpaid rent, and a pink eviction sticker sunbaked against the glass. Her fairy tale was foreclosed. It was supposed to be temporary, that apartment above the strip mall. A transition space, she said in her final Instagram story, back when she still thought rebuilding was a vibe. But then came the court costs. The fines. The restitution orders. The loan defaults. And worst of all, no more credit under my name. They couldn't keep up. Neither of them worked full-time, too toxic to hire, too infamous to brand. By the third missed rent payment, the landlord stopped being polite. By the fourth, he started posting updates in the building's community app. And by the fifth, he started packing their things. I found out through Vera, of course. She sent the forwarded foreclosure filing with a casual subject line. Guess who's homeless with matching monogrammed towels, champagne glasses? She was joking. I wasn't. Because at that moment, inspiration struck like lightning, sharp, fast, and wildly inappropriate. What if I said, I threw a party? They lived in Unit 203. The unit next door, 204, had just opened up after the tenant moved to Chicago. I signed a lease for it that afternoon. Not to live in. Just for one day. The invitation was simple. A gold foil card, anonymous sender, no RSVP required. The event. The Champagne Hour. Hosted at Unit 204. Dress code, celebratory, but not subtle. Inside, we decorated the place like a mini gala. Champagne towers. Gold streamers. A string quartet on loop playing classical renditions of Beyoncé. And front and center, a massive white banner, draped across the front windows like a gift. In bold cursive, "Det looks good on you." We started at 6 p.m. By 6:45, the building was buzzing. Neighbors came. Friends came. Even the landlord showed up, in a tuxedo t-shirt and with the original lease in a frame. We toasted to late payments. We danced to a remix of Bills, Bills, Bills. We played a round of Guess the Credit Score. Someone brought cupcakes with foreclosure notices printed in edible ink. And at 7:18 p.m., right on time, she came back. Arms full of grocery bags, sunglasses on, face blank. She stopped cold at the stairwell. Saw the banner. Heard the laughter. Realized where it was coming from. Her mouth fell open. She dropped a bag. Oranges rolled into the gutter. "You're not serious," she whispered. I was. I stepped into the doorway of 204, glass of champagne in hand, wearing a silk blouse and red lipstick like armor. I didn't say a word. Just raised my glass. And smiled. Her ex emerged from behind her, looking gaunt and grey. He saw me. Saw the party. And turned right back down the stairs. No fight left. She tried to scream. But no one cared anymore. We shut the door. Turned up the music. The building shook with laughter, with clinking glasses, with the soft hiss of celebration. The next morning, I terminated the lease. Left the place spotless, and a tip for the cleaners. But I left the banner behind. Because some Decker deserves to stay.
They lied. They cheated. They betrayed the one person who gave them everything. But guess what? The truth always finds a voice, and here, it screams. If you live for chaos, loyalty gone wrong, and revenge served cold. Like this video. Drop a comment. And hit subscribe, because on Family Drama Unleashed, we don't forgive, and we never forget. Tap that bell, because the next betrayal, it's already on its way.